Hi, this is Terry Woodhams with Let's Be Artful, and this video is for a Common Canvas collaboration, and our challenge this time is a pink challenge for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is in October. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a pumpkin, and I may put this cute little pink bow on there that can represent breast cancer awareness, so we can make it into like a little bit of a 3D element on there. All right, so I'm going to show you how you can sketch a pumpkin, and this is, I'm working on 11 by 14 mixed media pad here, and then I will be working with apple barrel acrylic paints. Of course, you can use whatever colors and whatever brand you have or medium that you want. So what I like to do when I'm making a pumpkin is I like to kind of figure out how big I want my pumpkin, and I'm going to eyeball that. I think I don't want it any fatter than this here, whatever this space is. If you want to, you could take a little ruler and kind of, if you wanted it to be a little more specific. So, oh, that's right about 1.5 inches there. So I'm going to go about 1.5 inches in. Otherwise, just eyeball it. Pumpkins are not, there's nothing perfect about pumpkins. Can be a little bit off. I do know I want a little bit of space down here on the bottom. That might be like another 1.5 inches or something like that. Just something, because you don't want it too low on the paper. It'll look like it's sliding off. I think I don't want my stem to go probably not any higher than this. And then maybe I want my top of my pumpkin not any higher than this. So maybe that's almost like 1/3 of the way down. But we do not have to, stay conformed to these dimensions here. We can adjust from there. So what I like to do is start with the middle lobe, and if you want to figure out where the middle is, so this is 14 length here, so I'm just going to put a little mark here. 7 will be in the middle. I'm just going to make a line here. You don't have to do this, but this just will kind of keep me centered. I know that my middle is here. And so I'm going to make my middle lobe. So pumpkins are, I think they're called lobes, and those sections on a pumpkin. So I'm going to make the middle one here. I'm going to make like a rainbow right on the top of this line here. We're going to end up erasing that, but that's just going to kind of help give us a little bit of guidance there. All right, so I'm going to make the left side of this lobe here, and I'm just going to come out and say this is like the middle of my pumpkin, let's just say. So I want the fattest part or the widest part to be about in the middle, and then I want to start bringing it in. So I know I want my bottom about here, so I'm going to make an upside down rainbow here that's going to kind of mirror this rainbow line here, and we can still go in and adjust that. So I'm making little light short sketches here, that way it can be erased easily. And I'm just going to mirror the other side. I'm going to come out. I know my middle of my pumpkin is going to be somewhere around here, so I don't want it. I want it to go, have the thickest, the widest part coming out up somewhere around here, and then I want to start tapering it in. So let's see here. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can go as fat or skinny as you want. All right, where's my eraser? And then I'm going to do the same. Kind of the same thing. So I'm going to start my next lobe here, and I'm going to do 2 more lobes. I'm going to have 1 more lobe here, and I'm going to have 1 more lobe here. So I have my middle one, and I have 2 lobes on each side. That's how I like to make my pumpkins. So I've designated this to be my widest point here. So I think I want to have, I'm just going to make a little light sketch here, just somewhere in the middle between this edge and this edge here is going to be my widest point here. Okay, that's just to give me a little bit of a reference. So when I make my next bump here, I'm going to go a little bit higher than the top of this bump here. I'm going to arch it up and then start bringing it down. I'm keeping in mind how I want it to start coming down so it can start meeting the lines there. My widest part is somewhere around here, and then I'm going to start bringing it in, and then down here I'm going to make it come up just a little bit. So here's the bottom. I'm going to make this bump down here come up just a tiny bit. All right, so my next lobe here, I'm going to start, you can go about the same as this one here, or we can go a little bit higher, just a little bit. Arch it up. I know I want it to be not any wider than this here. So I'm going to start bringing it down, and I'm just going to keep mimicking these curves here a little bit. It is a little bit different. So I'm going to try to reach that. If you can't reach that all the way out here, that's okay. You don't have to go all the way to where you first designate your lines. So I'm going to start pulling it in. All right, and so I'm just going to go, maybe I kind of went a little bit higher than I really wanted to here. So I'm going to go about the same, I think. The same as this bump here, just a little, maybe a little bit higher. All right, I'm going to start coming up and try to meet this line here, light sketches. All right, and just keep working with it until you like it. Pumpkins are not perfect. And so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, now I'm going to do the stem. I already made a little mark on how high I want the stem to go. I think I want my stem to be about this thick. So it kind of starts at the top of this middle, this lobe here, and this lobe here, the lobes that are on each side of the middle. And what I like to do, just how I like to make my stems, is like to make an arch coming up to about how high I want it to go, and then I want to start curving it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the other side. Oh, I almost feel like that might be too thick. Let's see what happens there. Start coming up, and I'm going to start curving this one too. So you kind of have this shape. It almost looks like a gnome hat that's like curving over. If you feel like that's too thick, you can always go back in and kind of, make it go in a little bit so it's not such a thick stem there. And then I'm going to bring this down. Now I'm doing like just a single line, and then I'm going to make a curve. Make a little curly Q here. I'm going to come down, round it out here, make a loop, and then come back up. And then I can even keep going. I can make a little squiggly line there if I wanted to and get a little fancy with it. All right, let's get to painting. All right, when I do my pumpkins, I like to start off with the darkest color first and start outlining my lobes here with the dark color. And I'm going to use, because Apple Barrel doesn't, I use Apple Barrel mainly. Apple Barrel doesn't have a very dark pink, so I'm going to use this alizarin crimson that I got in another brand here. Don't be afraid to mix and match brands. And I think I'm going to use a kind of like a number 5 round brush, something like that. Not too big, not too small. And I'm going to get my brush damp here. Always dampen your brush when you first use it. Give it a little drink. I'm going to go ahead and just start outlining. All right, now I'm going to start going in with that same pink and start filling in the middle of the lobes. All right, I can go in and start putting in the highlights, or if I want to, totally optional, I can add a little bit more shadow down here at the bottom. So just taking a little bit of that pink again and starting at the bottom, and I'm just pulling up just a little bit. Just use a tiny bit of that darker shade of pink or whatever color you're using, and I'm just pulling upward and flicking up, almost like a dry brushing effect. All right, now I can add some highlights in here. So I'm going to use the same flat brush, and I'm just putting a little bit of white just on the corner there. And I'm going to start at the top and right in the middle of each lobe here. You can see that we're going to be pulling out so that it looks like that each lobe, you can see the high points. So I'm just going to go in and in the middle of each lobe, start at the top and pull down. I'm not going all the way down, just like about halfway down. And it's okay if that other pink is still wet. That'll actually add to the blending. If you want to incorporate a little bit of orange in this, and you don't want it to be a completely pink pumpkin, I'm gonna do a little experiment here. I'm gonna try this tropic orange. It's not like a real orangey color. It's almost like sherbet. I'm going to put just a little bit in there and see if I like it. If I don't like it, I can always paint over it. All right, so I'm looking at this and I'm not quite sure if I like it this dark, but I'm going to work on the stem and then come back and see if I want to lighten this up or not. I'm thinking I want to do my stem brown instead of green because, you know, pumpkin stems, when they're ready to be picked, their stems, which is like a vine, it's not green anymore. Well, it could be maybe a little bit green, but they turn brown. So we'll do some brown there. If you want to add a little bit of green to it, then you can do that too. All right, so I'm just using a smaller round brush here. And I'm just gonna fill this in. I'm just gonna fill this in with, this is like a nutmeg brown. Just use any kind of a brown that you have. I'm going to go in with an even darker brown. This is a burnt umber, and I'm going to dab some texture on the one side here on the underside, just to give it a little bit of texture there, just on the bottom sides here. And then if you want, you can even put, sometimes stems they have like these ridges in them, so I'm just going to put in some of these lines. I just took a little bit of white and mixed it into my brown so I can make a lighter brown, and I'm just going to dab up here at the top to give it a little bit of highlight there. I'm going to come in and add a little bit of that darker brown just here, down here at the base. Gives it a little bit of depth. Okay, I think if I wanted to lighten this up, I could take that light pink and I can add some more of that light pink in there if I want to, but I think I'm just going to leave it like this. You know what I didn't do is I didn't do a background. I just went straight into the pumpkin. Usually I do a background before I start painting then the main thing here, but I kind of jumped ahead and got ahead of myself. So I would paint the background in first before painting in your main piece. So I kind of failed on that part. Sorry about that. I just got so excited about doing this pink pumpkin here. I am using a granite gray. I'm going to start with that. I got my 1/2-inch brush really wet and damp, not drippy, but just damp here. And I'm going to go in and just make some swirls. If you want, you can just paint it in a solid color and then go back and do some texturing. Of course, when I get close to the pumpkin itself, I'm going to be a little more careful, except if I was doing this background before painting in the pumpkin, I don't have to be that careful. Another thing you can do with watercolors, you can dip your brush in your water and then get your either your canvas, or if you're using a mixed media paper, get it wet and then go in with your paint and swirl it around. You can get like a little bit of a watercolor effect there. All right, so I can add just a simple little bow on here if I wanted to. I can put that anywhere, probably on the side, almost like it's wearing it on its shirt. So that would be a cute thing. I have like this little, more of a little lacy type of a bow here. I think it would be really cute if you had little charms, little breast cancer bow, you know, pink ribbons, and maybe like a little charm, and you can attach it on here onto the jute or whatever ribbon. That would look really cute. Let's see here. We can also, if you want to go in a different direction and bling it up a little bit, you can take these little sticky gems and you can go, you know, make a row of them on each of the lobe parts here, the lines. You can, you know, add those on there. There's so many different things that you can do to make it really cute. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you go and check out the other painters in the Common Canvas collaboration playlist that will be also incorporating pink into their artwork. So thank you for watching. Bye.